Can you hear me now? Please let me know if you can hear me. Yes, you can. Great. Fantastic. Really glad. Yeah, okay. We're getting loads of yes, I can hear you, but you can't see me. Let me just see if I can sort this camera out. If I can't, okay. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, great. Okay. So this is, I do apologize. This is the first time I've used this particular piece of software called Click Meeting. So I don't know whether it's me or whether it's a software or whether it's a lack of internet. But anyway, we're going to carry on. Hopefully you can see my computer screen, but either way, you can listen anyway. And I hope you'll enjoy it. Firstly, thank you for being here, and many apologies for the, let's say, technical delay. It was clearly the software's fault and not mine. I say that very tongue-in-cheek, but I really do appreciate your time in being here. I know everybody's busy, and I thank you for doing so, and also I respect you for doing so. And that's not said tongue-in-cheek. I really do. You've taken time out of your business to be here today in order to improve your business. And I want to give you my pledge that I'm going to try my best to make sure that happens. So there's obviously a Q&A because we've been using that to sort out our technical problems. So do feel free to ask a question. I'm going to leave the answering of those questions pretty much to the end of the meeting. At the end of the meeting, I'm going to make you an offer. And that offer is actually three offers. It's three things I want to do for you. One, I'd like to offer you a free meeting with me. I want to be clear, that's not about me trying to sell you stuff. It's about me trying to demonstrate my expertise by actually helping you with your sales and marketing. Secondly, I'm going to do you a free review of your website. Again, why am I doing that? I'm doing it to demonstrate my expertise and to try and help you to win business from your website, because so many people have got websites, have spent several £1,000s putting together that actually wins them virtually zero business. So I'm going to give you my take on what you need to do on your website in order to improve it. And then the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a report, which is basically like an action plan based on this webinar. So let me know at the end if you like that. I'll mention it again, and I'll show you how to sort of set all that up. In the meantime, let's get going. Let's crack on with things. So first slide coming up here. There we go. So hopefully you can see that. So introduction to the session. A little bit about me to start with. Every presenter does that. I'll try and keep it fairly short for you. Firstly, I used to work, but back how I got into all this marketing and business growth thing is actually quite a weird way. I came through the avenue of ping pong. What do I mean by that? Basically, I mean that I used to be a professional table tennis player. I played at international level, played in the German Bundesliga, and one of my claims to fame actually was playing for Bayern Munich. Sadly, not at football, but rather at table tennis. And I certainly didn't get paid the amount of money that footballers get paid, that is for sure. But the one thing I learned in that time, I think, is about I suppose mastering your results, which is why my central program is called that, because that's what we all need to do. We need to master our results. That's what really today is about, this results masterclass. How do we improve the results that we're getting in our business overall, as well as in our sales and marketing? So I did that. And as I said, one of the things that I learned was really, if you're going to be good at something, you've got to take action. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. I've always been a very focused person. I love competing. I'd try to beat my granny at tiddlywinks if I could. I was never the most talented table tennis player around, but I worked harder than any other. And I believe I do the same in my business. I'm not sure I work harder than anybody, but I certainly work really hard, long hours. I've been doing this now for 27 years. I obviously started very young, but it's all about focus, isn't it? I think, and I love, somebody once told me that the word focus stands for follow one course until satisfied. And that's a great way of looking at it, isn't it? We've got to follow one course. What are we going to do? Let's really focus on it and not behave like butterflies flittering from one marketing idea perhaps to another one. Over the last sort of 20 or 30 years, I've learned a lot by spending time learning from the best in the world. I figured that out at table tennis. I used to travel from my home in Sheffield over to Manchester to practice with players like John Hilton, Nigel Eckersley, who are all ranked top in the world. In fact, John was a European champion, and it was great to spend time around him and others and learn lots and lots. And I've been doing the same thing in the world of marketing ever since. My mission, what I've always been really, I always remember many years ago hearing that 8 out of 10 businesses go bust within the first 5 years. And I thought, God, that's so awful. It's not easy. We all know that, running a small business. And so I made it my mission, which it was 27 years ago and still is today, to try and help as many small businesses as I can to become better, to master their results, to improve, to grow, to make more money, to live the life that they want, and all those sorts of good things. That was my mission, and it still is today. As I mentioned, my core program is Results Mastery. I'm not here today to sell you that, but I'm here to sell you on the concept of that. Whether you ever join the program or not is entirely up to you. I'm happy to talk to you about that some other time. But what I do want you to do is to buy into the idea of Results Mastery. In other words, of looking at your results that you're currently getting, understanding what they are, and then working out what you need to do in order to master your results. In other words, to raise your game. In other words, to become better and get better results than you've got before. Because I think one of the big things certainly about marketing is that people can get a better result by improving what they do. And yet most people I see, they do the same thing again and again. People do the same thing on, let's say, for example, LinkedIn. People go onto LinkedIn and they post once a day and don't really win much business, and then decide it doesn't really work, and let's go and find something else that also doesn't work, because they don't stick at it. They don't focus. So that's really what this is all about. I'm going to teach you today what are 4 steps, 4 things, 4 general things that I think, if you use, you really will grow your business. And they're 4 concepts that I've been teaching for many years. They're a small part of results mastery, but I really do think they will make a big benefit to you and your business, assuming really one thing. And that is that you take action. I can tell you now, you've wasted your time being here if you get to the end and go, oh, well, that was interesting, and then go off and do nothing. That won't get you anywhere at all. What will get you results is you taking action. And, you probably gather my passion here. I hope it's coming through about this because it is so incredibly important. So I want you to start to think about this. I call it the ping pong strategy. It was my strategy that I use by spending time learning from other people, because we've all got skills. We got skills in whatever you do operationally, whether it's coaching or advising, or you're a solicitor, or you're whatever it is you and your company do, your operational skills. We've all got those, and that's really a given. What we're often not as good as we could be at is the selling and marketing. If I asked you to rate your current sales and marketing side of your business on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being really rubbish, 10 being world class, and 5 being average, where would you rate that now? Where would you rate it? Because we really need to be above average, at least. We don't want to be the same as everybody else. Because what results do most businesses get? Most businesses, well, we've said that 8 out of 10 go bust. I wonder why that is. Could it be due to a lack of sales, do you think? I'm absolutely convinced it is. So if that's the case, then we don't want to be average. At best, that means an average result. And at worst, it means, possible failure of a business. So we want to be way above that, maybe up to 8 or a 9. Based on my belief that nobody's a 10, nothing could be perfect, and we can always improve our results. The next thing I want to talk about here is on the slide there is number 5, the 5 keys to success. Now, I learned this from a guy that some of you may know called Tony Robbins. He's probably the most successful coach, advisor, trainer in the world. He turns over, I've heard, £7 billion a year with a B. So, not enough to live on, but it's a pretty good start, So, he hopefully, in fact, certainly knows a thing or two about growing a business. And he says one of the keys are these 5 keys to success. You might want to write these down because I think it'll be really worthwhile for you. So the first thing Tony says is you need to know what result you're aiming for. A lot of people come to me and say, well, I want to grow my business. And I say, well, to what level? Where are you now? What do you want to grow to? Well, I don't know. I just want to get more income in, and it's really important to be specific about what you want when you want it. We've all heard about SMART goals. So I want to grow my business by 25% by the end of 2023. That could be a goal for you. So that's what you want. Number 2, then, we need to take action, because again, so many people know what they want. I'd love to have a boat in the south of France and a holiday home in Spain and a this and a that, but we don't ever do anything. We've got to actually do something. We're going to get off our what and take that first step, whether that's at sport or at business or in marketing. We've got to do that. So that's number 1 is to know what you want. Number 2 is to take action. Number 3, and this is a missing ingredient I see in so many businesses, you've got to have what Tony calls sensory acuity. What I call know what results you're getting. Are your results getting you the result, the performance that you want? So it's, in other words, it's about measuring. If I said to you right now, how many leads do you get per month? How many have you got so far this year? How many leads? Where did they come from? What's your conversion rate? How many of those have you turned into sales? How many of those sales have you got repeat business on? How many people came to your website so far this month? How many contacts have you got on LinkedIn? And so on and so forth. So these are your marketing and sales key performance indicators, KPIs. And I'd say not 1 in 10 businesses, when I start working with them, have a clue, or at best, they guess what they think they might be. They say, well, I don't know. It's about 20 leads I've had, something like that. Where did they come from then? Oh, I don't know. I think a couple came from LinkedIn and one from my website, but I'm not sure about the rest. You cannot manage what you do not measure. So it's incredibly important. So that's step 3. Step 4 is to change your approach if it's not working. Einstein defined the definition of insanity as being doing the same thing again and again and again and expecting a different result. And yet so many businesses do exactly that. I hear all the time people saying, well, I just do, we get business from word of mouth, and, we go to, this networking event and that networking event, and we got a website, and, I post once a fortnight on LinkedIn, and that's about it, really. And, it's like, I don't know, it's like aiming to be a professional footballer or perhaps a tennis player and practicing once a week, or trying to lose weight and going to the gym once every 2 weeks. It ain't gonna work. You gotta crank it up, guys. We need to do more, and we need to get to know what works. Now, the magic part of this is, I believe, step 5, right? And that is model success. Model success. You find out somebody who's got what you want, you do the same things, and you get the same or similar results. I learned that back in table tennis days. Why did I go over to practice in Manchester with a European champion? Well, I thought, do you know what? Some of it might rub off on me. If I do the same training as him, practice with him, and even down to things like diet, eat the same sort of foods and so on and so forth, that might rub off on me. And do you know what? It did. I never got to his level, but I got to probably the highest level that I was capable of. And that's what I want from you. So you think about, right, okay, who can I model? Well, for me, could I model anything from Tony Robbins? Yeah, absolutely. He's the best in the world in my field. So I could have a look at his website. Now, I'm not suggesting copying his website. If you look at his website and my website, they're not the same. I've not copied it, but I've modeled it. I've looked at what is there in there that I ought to be thinking about doing. The other day, for example, I put together an events page on my website. Why did I do that? Because I saw Tony's events page and I thought, wow, that looks really nice. And thought, you know what, I can model that. I could do the same thing. I could have an events page like that. So, this modeling thing is so incredibly powerful. And I've been doing that for years. All this stuff that you're going to learn today, I can tell you, none of it is my ideas. None of it at all. It's all stuff that I've learned from the world's leading sales, marketing, business experts that I've studied and spent literally thousands upon thousands of pounds. I dread to think how many hours. I once worked it out at about 25. No, sorry, it was about £25,000 and roughly 150,000 hours. That's obviously based on over the last 27 years, not this year or anything like that. So, but it's just something to think about. So, let me crack on and talk to you about the first of the 4 key steps that I think you'll really will really benefit you. So here we go. So let's just pull that up there. So step 1. Step one is to build your audience. You may think, well, that's obvious, Steve. And yes, you're right. It is obvious, but it's one of those things. It's obvious, but it's often not done. If I asked you right now, how many people are in your database? In fact, just put in your Q&A, if you like, how many people are you communicating with right now? You can do it either, without, I won't shout out your name. That's what I'm saying. So just go in the Q&A and just tell me how many people are in your email database, and perhaps even your LinkedIn contacts, and so on and so forth. Because if you think about it, let me give you an example. Let's say that my target market was hotels in Portsmouth. That's what I did. I provided a service. So we got somebody saying it's 500 plus. Anybody else going to be open to that? Okay, but let me go back to my story. So let's say my target market is hotels in Portsmouth, and let's say that there's 1,000 hotels in Portsmouth, and right now I've only got a database of 250 people. Okay, what's the problem with that? Well, the problem is that 3/4 of my market have no way of being able to speak to. They don't know me. Our biggest problem in small business, I'm getting some good numbers from you guys, by the way, here. 7,000 in the database, over 500 LinkedIn contacts, LinkedIn database of 4,000, database of 400, a little bit low there maybe. LinkedIn database of 1,500. Whatever it is, one of the things I want you to focus on from today forward every day is growing that database, right? Because that's the if my service was focused on consultants, advisors, coaches, and people like that, I know there are 35,000 of them in the UK. Now, unless there are 35,000 people on my email list and they're all coaches, advisors, and consultants, then I'm not serving my market. I've got to be focused on working on that. Your biggest problem, or certainly one of the biggest problems that I see in small business, is obscurity. Obscurity. Not enough people know us. So what do we need to do? We need to use tools, marketing tools. We need to use social media. We need to use email, YouTube, website, advertising, blah, 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 to get ourselves known to more people. Getting more people on our database is a real key for your success going forward. I send an email out to 5,000 people, and that wins me, let's say, 10 new clients. If I manage to double that to 10,000, potentially that'd double the number of clients I've got to 20. That it's all about the numbers. Marketing and business is about the numbers. And so, when people come to me and tell me things like, well, I've been in business 10 years. And I say, oh, fantastic. That's really good. Well established. You got past the 5-year mark. They say, yeah. And I said, how big's your database? And they said, well, it's, 200 people. I had this the other day. I got a new client, big company, and they sent me their database. Guess how many were on it? 60 people. 60 people. That's just like ludicrous, in my opinion. They should have a lot more. They told me their world is about 10,000 people. Their marketing world, 10,000 people. They've got 60 people that they can communicate with an email right now. That's just not good enough. Most of those people were customers, but they've not got the ability to be able to do that. So if doing that is an important thing, I've not got time on here to go through, right, well, this is how you should do it on social media, this is how you should do it on email, and so on and so forth. But I will give you a couple of thoughts. Firstly, what is your objective? Your objective from this point of view is to grow your list, get more people on. So, you can go on to social and start, growing the number of people connected to you on LinkedIn. There are many ways of doing that. And as I say, I don't really have time to talk to you about that today, but there's loads and loads of ways of doing it. Just by doing more. If you did more, guys, I was talking to Grant Cardone the other day. Well, that's not quite true. I was on a webinar with Grant Cardone. He was talking to me, and he said that if you're not posting on social media 10 to 20 times a day, then you're wasting your time. Now, he's like, one of the world's leading sales guys, probably more than a marketing guy, and he's posting 10 to 20 times a day. Now, I don't do that. I probably do somewhere around about 5 times. Grant, I'm sure, has probably got a social media team, a group of people who are, there for him, posting on his behalf, or probably all day, every day. I don't know. But, my point being, I want you to do more of it, to do more of what you're already doing, and do whatever you can, really. So if you're only posting once every couple of days, try and do it every day. If you're posting every day, let's try and double it to 2 or 3 times a day. Remembering this, that most of the people, most of the time, are not seeing your post. They're just not. I've got just over 9,000 contacts on LinkedIn. I go onto LinkedIn now, share a post, and probably 300, 400, 500 people see it. So that's 8,500 people who missed my post. So, I don't need to worry about posting that thing again in perhaps a few days or a week. So I can repeat post. I might change it a little bit, but my point being, I want to be known. I want to get known. I phone my contacts, my 9,000 contacts. I pick up the phone and I go, "Oh, hi, Steve Mills here. We're connected on LinkedIn." Nearly all of them go, "Oh, Steve, yeah, I see you're very active on LinkedIn, aren't you?" I say, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, I try to be. Yeah." And we have a conversation. And that's what you want. That's what the job of connecting to people is all about. Building that database, building the number of people that know, like, and trust you. So that's really important, and I really hope you get that. Next one is making more offers. Right? Make more offers. Yeah, how's anyone going to buy your stuff if you don't make offers? How many offers have you made this week? How many? Again, you can tell me if you like. It'd be great to hear. I'd love to know what you're doing. But whatever it is, make more offers. People say, "Well, you shouldn't try and sell anything on social media." Why the hell not? I'm on social media for one reason and one reason only: to sell stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't go on social media saying all day, 5 times a day, going, "Do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to buy that?" But what I do is to add value. So provide some information that's of use and make an offer, right? I'm not saying, when I say make offers, that doesn't mean you got to sell something, although you could and should. What it means is you got to make offers. So what sort of offers could you make? Well, I could make an offer of a free report. Some of you, in fact, quite a few of you are here because you saw my post advertising this webinar on LinkedIn. So that was an offer. It was an offer of a free webinar. So my belief about what I'm saying here is you need to make more offers. You should have things like free reports, free webinars, free videos that people can watch, perhaps a seminar, perhaps a podcast, etc., etc. But just stepping back up that list of bullets there, I want to give you an example of somebody that I think does this really remarkably well. And the idea is around making an irresistible offer. Make it a fantastic offer and more people take you up. And that guy is a guy called Ted McGrath. He's a young guy, American, very successful by all accounts. I first came across him when I heard about him on I think it was a YouTube video that I watched, and I signed up to his email list. So he got me sort of hooked in, and he started making me offers. Now, Ted makes me an offer certainly every day, probably 2, sometimes 3, mainly by email. That's right. I'm getting 2 to 3 emails from him every single day. Now, his offers go something like this. I've got this great program. It's online training. It could be about, I don't know, I got one the other day on how to use YouTube to grow your business. And he said, basically, it's normally $299, but you can get it today for the fantastic price of $10, $9.99, I think it was. So it's like making unbelievable offer. And so probably about 3 or 4 months ago, I bought one. I thought, well, it's only a $10. It's not going to cost me very much. And so I bought this program. It's a really easy first sale that Ted had with me. And I watched the program, and it was blooming brilliant. It was really, really good. Now, surprise, surprise, when I ordered the program, the next thing Ted did was contact me and offer me a free meeting. A free meeting. A bit like I'm doing for you guys. Okay? So I thought, well, okay, yeah, I'll accept that. So I had a meeting, and I was interested not only in, maybe getting some advice from him, although it wasn't him, it was actually one of his team. But I was interested in that. But I was also thinking, I wonder what is, why is he selling something that's clearly worth a lot more than $10 so cheaply? Is that not ruining his brand? Is that not, positioning him as cheap and cheerful? So I asked his coach, I said, why is Ted, that program is clearly worth $299 of anybody's money. Why is he selling it for a tenner? And he said, well, our strategy is, he said, we sell around about 70,000 of those since we've been doing that. 70,000 times $10. Yeah, that's not a lot of money, but it's not a bad start, is it? I say that very tongue in cheek. But then he said that out of the 70,000 people who've bought it, 10% of them sign up to Ted's £2,500 program. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you to get you thinking about what could you do to make that first sale in buying from you really, really easy. How could you make it easy? How could you make it a no-brainer? A little bit like Ted did, with the idea of then getting people into your database so that you can phone them, so that you can email them, so that you can connect to them on LinkedIn, so that you can show them videos and so on and so forth. Because once you've got them, communicating back to you, that's a really important thing. I can send out emails all day long, but until and unless people start responding, we don't really get anywhere. That happens all the time on LinkedIn, doesn't it? People go, would you connect to me, Steve? And I go, yes, okay. And if it wasn't for me, that would be the last time that I would ever hear from them for the rest of my life. Why do they do that? Why do they connect to people and then don't communicate? Why do people think that posting on LinkedIn is going to win them business? It isn't. It's going to make phoning a lot easier. Yeah, that's where the money is. The money is in communicating. That's when you send out that email, you advertise on Google, you advertise on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, and then, being able to then convert that because what you've advertised is a free report that people have signed up for, or they've attended your webinar. Do you think there's an outside chance that I might phone you after this webinar? Well, it's going to happen, guys. I'm definitely going to phone you. I'm not going to phone you to pressure you into selling. I'm going to phone you to see if we can set up a meeting so I can help you further with your marketing. And at the end of that meeting, we might spend 5 minutes talking about, what else I can help you with. But if you don't want to, that's fine. But my point being that, we need to move people along this straight line. And not just go for the jugular straight away. Selling to strangers are the hardest people to sell to. Whereas if you've taken the time and the trouble to warm up or to warm them up, it's much, much easier. So step 2, make more offers. Step three is to build what I call marketing assets. You need marketing assets. What's a marketing asset? It could be a script. It could be an email campaign. Your website is definitely a marketing asset. It could be a marketing liability, by the way, but hopefully it's a marketing asset. Your referral marketing plan. You've obviously got one of those, like a written referral plan, because we all know referral or word of mouth is the most powerful marketing in the world, don't we? So I've no doubt that everybody on here has got a written referral marketing plan. And I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek saying that, you probably gather from my tonality, because I've hardly ever seen one. And yet, I can't stress, if you've not got at least 4 or 5 ways of winning business from referral in your business, then you're letting gold slip through your fingers. You're letting a pot of gold that's sitting there going, I don't want that. I don't want to win any more business from referral than sitting back and hoping that people will recommend me. That's my strategy. That's the strategy used by 99% of all small businesses, doing a good job and hoping that people will recommend you. And some will, some won't, and some would, but they just don't. And the truth of the matter is the vast majority of your clients would recommend you, but they just don't. And, we want to make sure that as many of them as possible recommend us. Okay, so look at your assets. What assets have you got in your business? What assets haven't you got that you might need? If you're not doing video, you should be doing videos. Go and have a look at my YouTube channel. If you type in Steve Mills Marketing, not now, but go and have a look. You'll see hundreds, and I mean hundreds. I think it's somewhere around about 400 or 500 videos. At one stage, I was doing one every day. 99% of businesses are, they've maybe got a video on their website. I appreciate that, but they're not really utilizing video as a key part of what they're doing. Where's your testimonial brochure? If you email me, I'll send you mine, just so you can see it, and perhaps you can copy it in a way. Not nicking mine. You can model it. Yeah, let's say that. You're not going to nick my testimonials, hopefully, but you can, produce one similar. I call it. It's like a PDF. It's called "Don't Take My Word for It." So because in there's like 150 testimonials from satisfied clients. So that's pretty cool. So a program, a service, my results mastery is an asset. It's been there for a little while now, and it's going to be there probably until I retire, sometime in the dim and distant future. This webinar, it's an asset. I can run it again and again. I am running it again and again. I'm running it every week. It's going to be a weekly asset. So if you know anybody who wants to attend it, please feel free to recommend it to them or point them in my direction, whichever you'd like to do. So, what are your assets? Are there things down here that you've got as assets that I've not mentioned? Perhaps you've got things like exhibition stands and stuff like that. And once you've got all this stuff, it's a matter of how good, you say, right, I've got scripts, Steve. Yeah, they're fine, but are they really outstanding? What's your script for answering the phone? What's your script for dealing with a complaint, perhaps? What's your script for answering the objection? I want to think about it. What would you say if I was interested in your product and I said, I want to think about it? Shall I tell you what I'd say? I'd say, that's very, very sensible. It's important to do that. But just to make sure I've done my job correctly, tell me, what is it you're not sure about? Because they're not sure about something. And then when they said, well, it's the price, I said, well, I understand that a lot of my customers, I'm not the cheapest around, so I do understand that. But is there anything else you're not sure about? No, it's just the price. So, okay, why don't we do this? Instead of paying up front, we'll pay 50% now, 50% in a month's time. How's that sound? That's fantastic, Steve. Let's go ahead. So, all right, it doesn't always work out like that, but you get the idea. You've got to have good scripts. If your script is not as good as that, or even if it's better than that, if it's better than that, come and tell me what it is. If it's not as good as that, you might want to adapt that, model that, or change it in some other way so that it converts higher than it does at the moment. You don't want to go, well, all right, well, one day, come back to me when you can afford it, sort of thing. That's probably not the best thing to say. So step four, again, really important this, and that is to create goodwill. Create goodwill. People buy from people that they know, like, and trust. They also buy from companies, and they buy products that they know, like, and trust. For me, I would only ever buy Apple. I love Apple. I think they're great. The computers are great. The phones are great. The iPads are great. I think their products are fantastic. Not only that, but the service when you go in an Apple shop, those guys are trained to an inch of their life. I think they really, really know what they're doing. I went in. I'll not mention it, but I went in another like an audio shop. Like a selling TVs and all those sorts of things. I couldn't even get anybody to speak to, let alone about that. But I go in Apple, I've got 3 people come up and ask me if I need any help within 2 minutes, and it's just like a whole new level. So we need to look at how we can build goodwill. Now, there are several ways of doing that. There's a fantastic book which I strongly recommend you go and buy, called The Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. It's by a guy called Dr. Robert Cialdini, who's, I think, a professor at Harvard or some big American university. And he talks about basically the psychology of influence. How do you do that? How do you persuade people? And he says that there are 7 keys to that. And I want you to think about these and how you are using them in your marketing. Number 1 is reciprocation. So doing things for other people, helping other people, hopefully will help you to improve your conversion rate. Now, you guys have come along here. I've been helping you. I've been, busting my gut. I've been really trying to, motivate you as well as give you some useful tools. Do you think you're more likely to buy from me in the future or less likely because you came on this webinar? I hope the answer is more likely. So, if I sent you a book through the post, if I sent you, a copy of Robert Cialdini's Influence Psychology of Persuasion book, would that increase the chances of you buying from me or reduce it? It would probably increase it, it'd increase even the chances of you taking my call. So reciprocation, do something for somebody first, excuse me, before you ask for the money is a great strategy. Second is commitment. What do I mean by that? I mean, I suppose the next 2 in a way are similar. Commitment and consistency. Knowing that whatever it is you do it consistently. That I think is a real key. If you could see me now, you'd see that I've got a black top on. You see on that picture there, I've got a black top. And the reason I've got that is that black is part of my corporate colors. My colors are black with a tinge of gold and gray. They're the three colors. I think they look pretty cool together. Look at the slides. It's no, it's no accident that I'm using the gold and the gray color there. Yeah. So I'm being consistent with my brand. I'm also being consistent in terms of when I tell you to do something, because I think it's good. If you're a client of mine and you said to me, well, are you doing it, Steve? I go, yeah, of course. Yeah, I would never, be recommending it's just not, it's not congruent, is it? If I said, look, you need to be doing YouTube advertising. YouTube's fantastic. It's a great way for you to grow your business. And you say, well, are you doing it? No, I've never tried it. It's just not on, so we need to maintain that level of commitment and consistency. The next one is social proof. People, when there's social proof, people are more likely to buy. So it's things like, having testimonials on your website. Is that going to increase or decrease the conversion rate of your website? It's going to increase it. Now, the better the testimonials, the better. I'd love a testimonial. Imagine I've got a testimonial on my homepage of my website from someone like, I don't know, a Richard Branson saying how great Steve is and how if you're starting off in business, you should definitely speak to him. How much more powerful is that than anything I could say? It's just so much more powerful, and that power is increased if that was a video of Richard Branson saying that, because it must then be true, because he's actually saying what was written. So really, really important, gaining social proof. I told you a few moments ago, I got testimonials from 150 people. That's a bit of credibility. That's not something you do overnight. I've got 9,000 people connected to me on LinkedIn. So I'm a sort of reasonably valuable asset to somebody, because when you connect to me, you get access to those 9,000 people. So, all that is definitely good. So testimonials, case studies, videos, anything like that to give you social proof. Other things with social proof, which sort of links into authority as well, are things like having done stuff. Like, I've been on TV a few times. I get myself on the radio on a regular basis. I've got my own podcast that's on iTunes and Amazon Music. I tell you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you. You could have yours on there, no problem at all. You can set that up, and inside the next couple of weeks, you're on there and you're off and running. But the fact that I've done it and perhaps you haven't means that I'm getting when I do a podcast. I'm getting around about 7,000 to 8,000 people listening to each episode. Each episode, 7, 8. So I can get my marketing message out for free to 7,000 to 8,000 people. That is really, really powerful, I think. And if you're not doing it, well, now's the time to start. And when would now be a good time to start? People liking, what could you do? What could you have on your website? What could you have in your emails or on your social media that would get more people to like? Here's a good example of this. The other day, I was I went to an event. I was asked to speak at the event, and then the owner, the guy who organized the event, said, right at the end of your talk, we play music and you have to dance, Steve. I said, yeah, right. He said, no, I'm serious. You have to dance. Now, if you go onto LinkedIn now, and do a bit of search for me, you'll find this video of me dancing at this event. Do you know what? It's had a phenomenal amount of views. Loads of people giving me stick about daddy dancing. But do you know, it gets it out there, gets me out, gets me to be, known, perhaps maybe liked a little bit more than this guy who's always pushing to, get you marketing and move forward and all that sort of stuff. So, that's, get people to like you, do stuff that, we give money. Every time we get a referral, one of my strategies is that we give £100 to cancer research in my client's name. So, would that make people like me more? I think it would. I think most people would think that was a nice thing to do. Steve's a good guy because he does that. That's my perception anyway, and I hope it's true. And I hope they do that. And I hope you take that. I hope you model that. Go and find your charity and go and give something back to people when they recommend you. That's a good thing to do. Number 6 is authority. Yeah, if you can position yourself as an authority. I today am an authority. You guys have come to listen to me. I don't mean that from a big-headed point of view. If you came to my seminar, I'm stood at the front, you're sat down, and I'm the authority. I'm like the teacher at the front. That's a good thing to do. If I've got letters after my name, that positions me as an authority. If it was Steve Mills, MBE, you think, oh, right, okay, well, he's an MBE. Oh, well, that's good. And so on. So, if I tell you, I speak all over the world. I've been to Singapore and Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Australia, been to America and Switzerland. I've been all over the world speaking. That's positioning me as an authority. Why is that? What about this? How many books have you written, Steve? I've written 4 books on marketing. 4 books on marketing. When you're an author, that's a great tool for positioning you as an expert in whatever it is you do. You with me on this? So, this stuff really does make a difference. And lastly, scarcity. Not I don't think relevant for everybody, but when something's, when it's the last biscuit in the tin, everybody in our house wants it, and when there's limited numbers, that's definitely a good thing to use in your marketing. This webinar, for example, if I got anywhere near my maximum number, which I think is 100, I'm allowed 100 people here. We're nowhere near that. We're more in the like 20 odd people on the webinar today. But if we were up at like 80 or 90 people, I'm going to be saying, look, there's only 10 places left. So promoting a bit of scarcity, first come, first served. This is the last place. We've only got 1 place left. All of a sudden, everybody wants it. You with me? But for me, you've got to act with integrity with this. So I'm not going to tell you, there's only a few places left when there's not. There's loads of places left. So, I need to be honest with my customers. Okay, we're nearly there. I've got just a couple more slides. I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. So next one. If you think about your market, the consultancy market, assuming that's what you're in, or certainly a market anyway, even if you're not in it, it's probably not far from the truth. I want to, in the interest of being open and honest, those figures are totally made up, right? They are not by any sense based on a survey or anything other than my opinion. That's what I think it roughly is. And I do know that a phenomenally high number of consultants make less than 30 grand a year, which is blimey, giving your life and your heart and soul in some, putting a load of effort in and getting 30 grand. It's almost like go and get a job, guys, but it doesn't have to be that way. Next level is the 50 to 100, or let's say 30 to 100, perhaps I should say, 20%, and so on and so forth. So, the bottom line is, I think in no matter what the industry, the money is made by the people at the top of the tree. You only need to look at football or tennis or golf. Tiger Woods made a fortune. Somebody who ranked 10 in the world, is probably like 10% of, the money that he's made. Usain Bolt, wins the gold medal. He gets the Nike contract. He becomes famous all over the world. The guy who came fourth was the fourth fastest human on the planet, and we don't even remember who he is. Sad but true. Okay, so that being the case, let's just think about what you're going to do to go forward. Here's one thing that might pay. Go and have a look at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Do a SWOT analysis. Might be worthwhile. Might be worth you spending a bit of time doing that. Here's a couple more things that you might want to think about. Set a strategy of turning strangers into contacts. Getting that communication, then creating conversations. If you haven't taken anything I've said up until now to be true, take this to be true. Pick up the phone and you'll end up with more money in your pocket at the end of the year. So pick up the phone, speak to people, use modern digital marketing to speak to people, not sending out messages on LinkedIn and thinking you're doing everything you can to win business. I win over 100 grand per year on LinkedIn. That's a fact. That's not made up. I win over £100,000 per year on LinkedIn. Now, how do I do that? I do that by picking up the phone and speaking to people. Probably 95% of that money comes from speaking to people on LinkedIn. Occasionally, I just get a lead. I got one yesterday, probably going to be about 3 or 4 grand. This company want me to do a series of online training programs. They just contacted me on LinkedIn, which is great. But most of the money is in speaking to people. So communicate with people and your customers as well, by the way. Get them interested, turn them from I'm interested, I've come on your webinar. My job with you now is to develop your interest in working with me. I'll be absolutely open and honest with you. Some of you will, some of you won't, and that's absolutely fine. But I want to get you to the next level. I want to meet you on a one-to-one basis. I will not give you a hard sell when I do. I will try and help you. I'll ask you to come with some ideas. What do you need to improve? You might say, well, I'm not very good at whatever it is, not very good at pay-per-click advertising, or, my website doesn't really work. I'm not winning any business from it, Steve. Can you help? And I'll try and help you. And then at the end, I'll talk to you about other things that we might be able to help you with. And lastly, once you've got people into that buying mode, you need a strategy. You need a plan in place to keep them there, to create what I call raving fans, not satisfied customers. That's not good enough. Satisfaction means it was okay. I enjoyed the meal in the restaurant, but I'm going to go other places as well. Whereas really what you want, what I want, is people to become raving fans, to think you're great. It's like I'm a raving fan of Apple. Yeah, I would never buy another computer. Almost like no matter what the cost, really. If Apple came out with an Apple car, I'd want an Apple car. If they came out with a new TV, I'd want one of those too. Yeah, if they developed microphones that I'm talking into now, I'd go and buy an Apple microphone, and so on and so forth. So I'm bought into the brand. I'm a raving fan of the brand. Does that make sense? I'm hallucinating. It does. Okay, we're down to our last slide now. I know we're a minute over, but hopefully you'll stay with me. So what are you going to do now? So most people, what do? They don't do anything. I said that at the beginning. They think, oh yeah, it was really interesting. Then they do nothing, and nothing changes, and nothing gets any better. They hope things will get better. They hope they'll survive in this difficult financial time. They'll cut back on stuff and hope that they can survive. Well, good luck with that one is all I can say. some people will take me up on the offer. I don't expect I'm going to get 20 meetings. I just don't think I will. If I do, I'll be really pleased. But if you want to book a meeting with me, then I'll send you a link and you can do that. If you do that, I mean, you can do any of these three really, but I want you to come back to me. I'm not going to send you the free report. I'm not going to do you the website video until and unless you ask for it. Okay, so you need to email me. I'll send you an email thanking you for being here, and you respond to that email saying, yes, I'd like a one-to-one meeting, a website video review, and the free report, or one of those things. If you don't want the one-to-one meeting but you'd love the report, just let me know and I'll send you that. So that's how that works. Next one then is the actions that you're going to take. My results program, and again, what I want you to take on board is the idea of results mastery. To master your results, you need to master your strategy, your sales, your marketing, finance, people, customers, and systems. The 7 keys, according to Tony Robbins, the world leading expert, of these 7 in order to grow your business. And guess who's modeled those? Yes, I have. That's part of my results mastery program. These 7 principles. It's not all about just marketing and sales. It's about these 7 things. So we need to focus on that. Next, what's needed? Well, we need to, the first thing we want to do really when I meet you is to understand where you are and where you want to go. And then we can talk about what you need to do in order to get there. Does that make sense? I'm sure you've heard that many times before. Where are you? Where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? But fundamentally, they're the 3 most important questions in business. And the last thing I'd like to talk to you about is, in terms of the results approach, is what I call innovation, quantification, orchestration. Got that from the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, another great book for you to have a look at. Innovation is about changing the little things in your marketing in order to improve your results. Quantification, again, comes back to that measuring. I can't stress to you enough, you need to measure your sales and marketing. If you're not doing that, how do you know whether it's working or not? We've got to get proof of concept. So if you're spending money on pay-per-click advertising and you're not quantifying it, how do you know if you change things? If you change a headline, how do you know it's any better with the new headline? You must quantify. And then orchestration is making sure that everybody in your organization does things consistently to the same high standard. So it's really the management of innovation, changing things like the headline, the copy, the words, the use of different pictures and things like that, and making sure that you manage that and you quantify that as well. So that's really just about it, other than the final slide, which says nothing happens till someone makes a sale. No one becomes your customer. No one gets paid. No one makes any money. I'd love you to book a free 30-minute session with me. I promise, as I've said a couple of times already, no hard selling from me. I'll just demonstrate my expertise further. And if you want help, if you want to join my results program or need help in some other way, just ask and I'll tell you all about it. That's about it. Any questions? Have we got any questions or any comments at all? I've got several people said like the idea of the testimonial thing. Well, if you want a copy, again, just email me and I'll send it you. You can do that. Rick says, how do I speak? That's a very good question, Rick. That's a good question. I'm not sure I know the answer to. Just bear with me, caller. Bear with me. Okay, I've allowed to turn on your mic. There we go. See, I am a technical genius. Rick, you can speak now. Are you there? Rick? No, I'm not sure Rick can speak.
About that.
Oh, you're there, Rick. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much, Steve. I arrived 20 minutes later. I could do with the first few slides to show the management team, but I'll book a one-to-one.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
great. Good man. Okay,
yeah.
fantastic.
Haven't seen you for years over there in
No,
Theo, I think.
no, it's great.
So,
yeah. It's been a long time, and you know, it's really weird. There are quite a few people on here that you know, I know, and you know, again, it comes back to what I said, doesn't it? You know, that people buy from people they know, like, and trust. The reason you're probably here is, you know, you know, we've got a bit of history, albeit, you know, quite a long time ago.
Yeah, and I like what you were saying about the free stuff. We've had to completely change our business from aren't we important with software people and we don't get out of bed for more than £1,000 a day to look, have all this free stuff, and if you use more than 30,000 records, or if you do more than this or do more than that, we'll charge you a £5. So that obviously means we've got to get out there with social media and get the volumes, whereas previously we'd be talking, we'd find a rich fool. Now we've got to find loads of highly intelligent people that don't spend money without a damn good reason. So I think it's really apposite time.
Yeah, wise words. You know, the bottom line is it's tougher, isn't it? You know, that pie has shrank. You know, it's you know, it's more difficult now. You know, we're going through the winter, not only in terms of you know, the weather, but in terms of business as well. And what does that mean? Well, you know, for me, it doesn't mean I should be shrinking. It just means I've got to try harder, you know, even to maintain my business, let alone about grow it. And you know, now's the time to, you know, I keep telling people the thing they ought to be doing right now is trying to become better at marketing. And I say that, I know people think, oh, well, he would say that, wouldn't you, Steve? And that is true. But the fact is, I believe it's true, Rick. And, you know, it's good to see that you're changing your approach and trying something different. So,
I do have one other question. I'm sure it's shared by everybody. On LinkedIn now, is there any way you can go that's like business to business? Because on LinkedIn now, there's like also, you know, people proudly showing off that their daughters have graduated, pictures of cats. So I don't know if there's any other social media that, or if LinkedIn police will you know. So,
it's got more like Facebook over time, hasn't it? Really. I mean, you know, I think all social media has got its place. You know, people, you know, I'm hearing big things about stuff like TikTok right now. You know, I'm on there. I'm starting to get some real traction on there. You know, people are starting to watch my videos. I'm probably not doing enough of them, in truth, but you know, there's you know, all these sites. You know, I looked the other day, and I've got a lady that's helping me do Facebook stuff, and we're using groups on Facebook, and my views and things, I think she said they were up 450%, just because we're putting more time and effort in there. So I'd say use most or all the, you know, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Google My Business. That's about it. So I'm on all those, and I try and post on there 4 or 5 times a day on all of them. But I use an automated system. I use something called Social Pilot. So anybody might want to have a look at that.
Oh, is that like Hootsuite? You publish to one place and then it pastes it everywhere else.
Yeah. There are many of them. You know, if you typed in to Google social automation tools or something like that, that's what I use. So you know, it just enables me to do it without actually being there all the time. You know,
what was that one called? Social Pilot.
Social Pilot. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. I think I pay something like, I can't remember, it's £25 or $25, but it's about that much. And it's nice and easy to use, and I like it. So I pay a little bit more than I would on Hootsuite. I think that's something like 18 quid, something like that, for the professional version, which you need. You know, you need to get the paid version, I think, because you get extra additional stuff and you get to know, you know, more about what's working and so on and so forth. So yeah, good. Well, I'll speak to you further, Rick, when you book your meeting. And other than that, I'll say goodbye to everybody. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for staying. I think I had one person drop out there in the whole what is now an hour and a quarter. So I really appreciate your staying. Thank you for your time. And I'll be in touch with you certainly by the end of today with a link for you to book the meeting, and tell me if you want the website report, and also the other report as well, the report on today. So thanks ever so much. Good to see you. I'm waving. I don't know why, because you can't see me. But thank you ever so much. And, you know, as ever, no matter what you do, take action. It's great. Thank you, guys. Everybody's saying thanks, Steve. Great seminar. Yes to the slides and report. Oh, that's Rick. So thanks, Rick. Yeah, absolutely. I'll send them over, and look forward to speaking to the rest of you soon. Thank you ever so much, and goodbye.